UFOs?
I believe that there's another.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
Do you believe in UFOs?
Yes! There you go.
Are they real or not real?
Oh, 100% they're real.
How can we prove that we're the only planet that can sustain life?
You believe in UFOs?
I do believe in UFOs.
You believe in UFOs?
She got out. She got all the way.
UFOs?
Well, yeah, the Navy just released footage.
You ever seen anything going on like in the sky?
Yeah, just the other night we seen a light in the sky. We didn't know what the it was.
You take your mind over, they just absorb you, and poof, you're done.
Or are those aliens actually demons? Let me give a replay of what she did. Oh shit!
Aliens and demons?
Which one?
Both.
Okay, bye. You look like a little angel yourself. The aliens might actually be demons.
You might be an alien. I don't know you.
Got something to say, you wanted to play, then come running my way and ruin G status is dead. No, ready to go, about to go in, you already know. Got my instructions, now give me your audience, hand me your mic and I'm ready to blow. One for the money, two for the show, three for everybody who encouraged me to go, get it. We finally did it, I ain't never turning back, shawty. I'm fully committed to my beliefs, I'm committed to the sin. I'm about to give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for. Give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for.
And now, from an underground bunker on an island in the middle of the Cumberland, it's the paragon of the paradox, the voice of the silenced, America's favorite uncle, and the host of JimSpiracy, Jimmy Dodds.
Wow! Come on, man. Let me ask y'all a question, man. Is that not the hottest theme song going in the industry right now, man? Come on, man. Woo! Hey, man, welcome to JimSpiracy. I'm your host. I'm that guy, Jimmy Dodds, Uncle Jimmy, Sergeant Dodds, Jimmy the Freak, or that enigma over there that won't shut the hell up. Whatever you want to call me, I'm that dude. Hey, man, thank you for being here. Listen, we did one show last week, and we made it back. I thank all of y'all for coming back. It might sound like a small thing, but it is a big thing, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. You know, it does say in the book somewhere, it says that where two or more are gathered in my name, it says there am I. So you know what that means? That means that I'm here. That means that you here. So therefore, that means that he, okay? So, you know, that means we're going to have a blessed show. We're going to have a good time. Let's get on to it, man. I thank y'all. I appreciate you being here. As I said, I love being out in the streets of Nashville last night. Hey, man, I'm telling you something, man. I don't discriminate, man. I love everybody, man. I'm just letting you know, if that's your way, then that's okay. All right? And that's that. I'm going to leave that alone. Hey, man, on today's show. Oh, my God. Listen, on today's show, man, we have Nathaniel J. Gillis. I don't know what to say about this dude, man. He is a religious demon. And I know some of y'all think that, oh, hell, Uncle Jimmy done lost his mind. Here you go playing with the dark side. No, I still play with white people. But anyway, listen, Nathaniel J. Gillis, he's going to be here to talk about it. He has a very, very interesting take, man. You know, we've all talked about UFOs and talked about aliens. This dude says that aliens are actually demons. And that's pretty, he's got an interesting take to it. I need you to check it out. Also, got some I told you so headlines. You know, I like to call them, I hate to say I told you so, but damn it, I told you so. And I just used the word damn it and Bible story in the same breath, because I also got a Bible story for you today. I had a few people say, hey, we need the Bible stories. We like the Bible stories. Truthfully, I kind of feel like I'm really not worthy. I'm not warranted to tell the Bible stories, but I've actually heard some people say that they like the Bible, to hear the Bible stories. So, you know, like Shaquille O'Neal say, I'm going to give you what you want, give you what you need. Oh, that ain't Shaquille O'Neal. That's MC Breed. Okay, never mind. All right. Listen, man, let's get on with the program, man. All right. I had a guy, man, in the Marine Corps, man. He used to start every roll call off by saying, "No shit, there I was." Well, that's how I'm going to start this story off. There I was. It was the summer of 1979 in Kansas City. This was my junior year. You know, man, junior year, right before, man, that's really a good time, man, because you realize you almost there, man. That's the junior year of high school is like the 2-minute warning of life, man. We getting ready to clock it down, man. So, you know, this was really a good time for me, man. I'm kicking it. It's the summertime, and it's my little cousin from Minnesota, my little cousin Leland. He and I were heading over to my friend Cub's house. Okay? Now, let me just tell you this about Leland. Leland is my little cousin that's 6'5". Okay? And he's been 6'5" ever since he's been about 11 years old. Okay? Now, truthfully, here's the only problem. He's been 6'5", and he's been 6'5" since he's been 11. But he was with me this particular night in question. But it completely did me no good to have him there because evidently the boy suffers from CRS. And that means that the boy can't remember shit. Okay, anyway, long story short, man, listen, it was about 8:30 in the evening, and we're walking, as I said, to my friend Cub's house. RIP to the Cubby, man. You know what the deal is, man. Hey, man, as we got about 4 or 5 houses from Cub's house, right? I see Darren Fields, right? Darren lives like 2 doors from Cub, right? And Darren is standing outside the house, and Darren's pointing up into the air like this right here. And so I'm looking like, damn, man, what the hell wrong with you? You know, he's like, look. And so when I look, and we're walking west, and he's pointing north, and he's pointing like this up in the sky. And I look up, and when I first looked, what I saw looked like a helicopter, okay? But it wasn't making a noise. Then I kind of realized that it was too low to be a helicopter, and it wasn't making a sound. And then I noticed that it had lights going around like this right here, right? And it was like one red dot, like on the back of it. So like going around, it was like a dot, like right this on the back of it. So I could tell that it was round. So I yelled, "Cub, go get your mama." You know, ain't nobody gonna believe us. We just kids. Go get your mama. So as Cub runs to get his mama, I turn around, I look back, boom, it's gone. Okay? So needless to say, I get home later that night. I tell my grandmother what happened. First thing my grandmother asked me was y'all drinking? Was y'all smoking that stuff? And don't. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. I looked my grandmother straight in the eye and lied and told her. I said, "No, ma'am, we wasn't." Then they asked my cousin's big old goofy ass, and he wasn't no help. He just started talking like Mushmouth from the Cosby Show, talking about Weeble Beeble going to the stover. Yeah, shut my phone off. Who was that calling? Jesus Christ. Tiana, why are you calling me while I'm recording the show? Lucy, text her and tell her not to. Anyway, my cousin wasn't no help, man. His big old goofy ass sitting up talking like Mushmouth from the Cosby Show. They asked him what happened. All he talking about is, Weeble Beeble going to the stover. Man, shut the hell up, man. All right. Now, fast forward, you know, like I said, this is the end of my junior year. So now this is the time of year where you and your classmates pick your class for next year, okay? So now, this is my partner, Stoney. Me and Stoney been friends since the 5th grade. So we're here in the auditorium and we're like, hey man, it's our last year. We need to have a class, you know, get a class we're gonna have together. Well, that class that we was gonna be able to have was called Science Fiction Literature. Now, Science Fiction Literature was an elective course, okay? Meaning, if you fail the course, it's not gonna hurt you. It don't matter. As long as you had all your credits, you was good. You had one to play with, all right? Got it? Are you following me right now? So look, here's what I need you to do. Fast forward again. So now this is my senior year, right? Senior year. First hour class is science fiction literature. It's me, Stony, Baby, and Dr. Forrester's son. Okay? And, just keep in mind, I said that I didn't care about this class. Didn't matter to me. We just here to kick it. And truthfully, I ended up getting an A in this class. This is the class that ended up becoming my favorite class, whatever. Somebody asked me, they said, why are you talking about UFOs and what made you want to do this? And truthfully, I really didn't know. But as time goes on, I begin to realize this class is my favorite class because I actually really did read books. I read books like Fahrenheit 451. My favorite book of all time was 2001 Space Odyssey. And remember, in this book, Hal kills Dave. Okay, remember the computer, Hal kills Dave. And Dave's like, Hal, open the door. I'm sorry, Dave. I cannot open the door. Hal, open the door. I'm sorry, Dave. I believe that you are what the Americans call scuffed. Listen, man, I loved it. Now, check this out. Here's where the story gets good again. Okay, we get to a point in class where we talk about UFOs, right? Now, I told you about my little UFO story, right? So the teacher wants to know, hey, who's ever heard, who believes in UFOs? People raise their hand, whatever. Who's ever seen a UFO? My partner, Stoney, immediately points. This dude right here seen a UFO. So immediately, if you say Jimmy Dye's seen a UFO, everybody like, oh my God, here we go. Okay. So I tell my story about the UFO I seen. Before I can get done, the first thing out of Stoney's mouth is, now, tell him who you was with. And I'm like, I was with Cubby. And so they like, everybody in the class start laughing. Oh, well, if he was with Cub, you know what they was doing. Nobody listens to me. Ha ha ha. 2 girls in the class, 2 cheerleader girls, 2 quiet girls said, I saw that night. Another girl raised her hand. She said, I saw that. I saw it exactly like that. So now all of a sudden, Jimmy got a little, it ain't funny no more. Now you want to listen to me a little bit. You thought it was just, okay. Now, here's where the story gets good because it don't matter what I saw. It don't matter what they saw. The vice principal, Mr. Butch Ellison, comes into the class. Butch Ellison, anytime Butch come around, a brother about to get in trouble. Ain't nothing good getting ready to happen when Butch come around, okay? Most of the time when Butch come around, I'm about to get called to the office. And Butch comes in and, hey, what's going on, what we talking about? And tell him, talk about UFOs. Ask him, do you believe in UFOs? He says he believes in UFOs. Not only does he believe in UFOs, he saw a UFO last summer, 8:30 at night, light going around. Saw the exact same thing that we all just described. Because, evidently we all lived in the same neighborhood, evidently. Okay, now fast forward again. We have a book and we're studying UFOs. Okay, in this book has pages or pictures of actual UFOs. So I'm really kind of curious if I'm looking through this book because I really want to see if I see the UFO that I saw. And sure enough, I saw what I thought was the UFO that I saw. So I tell Stoney, who's sitting behind me, hey bro, right here it is. Stoney, take it. Tell Miss Pouncey, Jimmy Dye's found the flying saucer. Tell them to look in the book and find the flying saucer. They looked in the book. Sure enough. And everybody, Stone holds up my picture and 2 girls hold up their picture at the same time. And everybody got the picture under the same one. Well, by this time, Mr. Ellison, I think we might even call Mr. Ellison up there. Hey man, look in this book. They talking about now they want to, Mr. Ellison, look in here and see if you see it. Mr. Ellison looked in there and Mr. Ellison pointed to the exact same UFO that we saw. Okay? So I can't even tell you how I felt to actually have somebody else that actually saw that with me. Because truthfully, it happens and people never saw it. Because hell, I thought I might have been crazy. Believe me, don't nobody know that I'm crazier more than me. So that is what happened. That's my UFO story. Wait a minute. That's one of my UFO stories. Stay tuned, and I might have another UFO story for you later on in the show. We'll be right back.
Could there really be extraterrestrial intelligent beings? Have they visited us here on Earth? These are questions that are as old as mankind itself. The 1947 Roswell incident was just the beginning of the modern American fascination with what is now called ufology. Was the wreckage found in the New Mexico desert an alien craft, or just a downed weather balloon like the government said? How about the eerily similar accounts from hundreds of so-called alien abductees? Why are American military pilots testifying so often about strange craft in the upper atmosphere? It seems like there are almost as many explanations for UFOs as there are sightings themselves. If they're not alien visitors, are they hallucinations? Secret aviation technology? Weather phenomenon? Recently, a new explanation has come into vogue, especially among Christians. They're not from another planet, they're from the depth of ours. Fallen angels, also known as demons. Could that explain why alien abduction stories seem so similar to tales of demonic possession? Do the cover-ups, secrecy, and falsehoods about these phenomena actually point to the father of lies, Lucifer himself? On JimSpiracy, we don't have all the answers, but we're going to do a deep dive into the questions and let you decide for yourself.
Welcome back to JimSpiracy with me, your guy, Jimmy Dodds. Hey man, my first guest on today's show is somebody that I'm honored to have him. I'm a little bit scared as hell. I'm gonna be honest with you because I've really had a hard time getting things to work right around here ever since I announced that I was gonna have this guest on here. Anyway, my next guest is Mr. Nathaniel J. Gillis. He's an author and a religious demonologist. The guy's been on Coast to Coast AM with my guy, George Norrie. He's been on there talking about aliens and demons and a plethora of other things that I'm not quite understanding of yet. But nonetheless, my guy, Nate, is going to be here and he's going to talk about it. Nate, you there, man?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be here with you.
Hey, man, first of all, look, you know, man, let me tell you this. Let me tell you how you was described to me. Let me just cut through this crap, first of all. Somebody said, hey, man, listen, there's this guy that he's kind of crazy looking and he wears hats and he always wears watches. And I'm like, well, damn, that sounds like me. So,
right. So that's why I switched my hat now, man.
Listen, man. First of all, honest to goodness, man, I really, really, really appreciate you being here. Okay. I was worried in the beginning when we finally thought that we was gonna be able to get you because your people said that they was gonna get with my people, and the only problem is, I guess you finally realized, hey man, I ain't got no people. So, hey, listen here, man. Next favor, man, entertain me, okay? Because you are a professed demonologist. Personally, I would like to call you a demologist. Okay, it just sounds better to just use the phrase like that. Mm-hmm. But the phrase demonologist, do me a favor, man. No pun intended, but just what the hell is that?
Man, the simplest explanation is I study the pathology of demons and so-called divine beings and how they've manifested to us throughout millennia. That's my specialty. That's what I do.
Okay. Okay. Nate, let me tell you something, man. And this is a true story, man. I just binged watched you on YouTube.
Okay.
Like you was just season 2 of Ozark. Okay. And you are low key becoming one of my favorite people just because you simply made me think outside the box of understanding, man. So if you
Wow.
would, man, just
That's
do it, man.
huge.
Hey, man, just appease me and let's just act like we've been knowing each other for a minute and just let me just run down and ask you a whole bunch of questions. Is that cool, man?
That sounds perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, man, listen, first of all, okay, and you seen from the old, I went out to the streets of Nashville and we asked people, man, do they believe in UFOs and everything, man? So, first of all, do you believe in UFOs or UAPs or whatever spooky ass things in the sky, whatever you want to call them? Are you a believer?
I'm a believer 100%. We don't know what they
Okay.
are though, but we know they're there.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Is the government telling us the truth about aliens? Are they telling
I
us the
think the
truth
government
about aliens? You see what I'm saying? What
well,
they know about
yeah,
aliens.
I think that they're employing a method of finessing people because they used to have a researcher in their field that would tell people he had pictures of UFOs and that the UFOs themselves had symbols on them, but he would never tell people what the symbols were. And so whenever it's somebody who was trying to fake it till they make it would come to him with these fake symbols, he would vet them, right? He would say, okay, these are not the real symbols. And so in a way, he was deceiving people, but at the same time, he was giving the crowd the measure of truth,
Um,
right?
First of all, I got you, and even with that, and I got to try to be careful here because
Yeah.
I've heard people say that they've gotten close enough to a UFO, and I think they've actually used the word hydroglyphics. I was
Yeah.
close enough to touch the hydroglyphics. Is this what you're talking about?
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. The symbols that are found on these planes are ships, not planes, but ships. And I think that that's what the government's doing is just vetting people who, because I mean, come on, let's be honest. In my field, there are a lot of frauds. There are a lot of fakes. There's a lot of people that just want to be the part and make things that are fraudulent and large claims, little evidence. And so I think that what the government is doing is they're telling us the truth and that they have footage of real UAPs or UFOs, but what they're giving us can be easily debunked, and they have been. And I think that's quite a scary hypothesis because if what we're seeing is actually identifiable, what do they have in the vault, right? What really terrifies them in the middle of the night?
Well, as I started listening to you, and like I said, I had a problem with the whole art, because you actually say that aliens are demons, okay? And not only do you say that, there's a lot of Christians that say that aliens are demons. Is there any truth to that, or what's the story behind that? How do you feel about that?
Well, the premise is that they're aliens, and the only reason we believe they're aliens is because they've told us they're aliens. But the pathology behind this, if you go even back to the late Iron Age, we see their behavioral patterns. It's the same phenomenon. And so in antiquity, we called these beings demons because they were inseminating women and then creating fetuses. And then, it's the same thing that's going on right now in the UFO abduction field. But I think that the understanding here that they're aliens is we still need to work on that, right? Because a lot of these abduction accounts include being deceived completely by these beings. And so do I believe they're demons or aliens? I believe that everything's on the table. But 100%, we know for sure that our ancestors believed these beings to be demons. And that's where we really are right now.
Okay, now there are people that are going to say, this guy right here is BSC. Okay, this man is batshit crazy. Now, but I'm going to ask you a question based off of exactly what you said, because it sounds kind of crazy. It sounds kind of like a long shot, but what about alien human hybrids? Okay. Do you understand? First of all, is it real? Is it real?
Right.
Because I don't know.
Right. Well, there are many in the medical field that behind the scenes have professed that yes, they have had missing fetus cases where women have been inseminated, thought they were inseminated during abduction, and it's, they could see, they have pictures, they have photos of the baby inside the womb, and then mysteriously these women have dreams, and then next thing you know, the baby's gone. Even more than that, we have case studies of surgeons going in to perform surgery and actual finding remains of a pregnancy that these women didn't even know they had. And so it just so happens that these women are coming forward and saying, hey, listen, I'm an experiencer. I am an abductee. And so that's where we are in the field. But this phenomenon is occurring. It has been occurring, and it will occur until we as a field start to evolve in our thinking and ask profound questions like you are tonight.
Listen, I want to go back to that, but I got to keep going. But remember this, because we're talking about the insemination of women, okay? And that just sounds crazy, okay? So just leave it there. But I want to try to jump a little bit, because one of the things that I heard you say, and this took some work, because I've never heard anybody say this, man. You said that the aliens are actually stealing the souls of people. Okay?
Correct.
Now hold on for a minute. Let me repeat that again. You said that aliens are stealing the souls of people. And before you answer, let me say this. In every movie that we see, because I think that they throw a little bit of truth in every movie. They put a little bit of truth in it. And for example, the movie Fire in the Sky, when the dude came back, when he finally came back, I forgot what his name was. But if you look at him in every movie, after somebody has an encounter with an alien, they really do look like they've had their soul taken from them. I mean, I truthfully, I couldn't describe it in any other way other than, damn, they look like they've had their soul taken away from them. And looked like, anyway, I'm sorry, can you go back to your comment of aliens are stealing people's souls?
Yes, so this is considered to be the out-of-body experience, the near-death experience. Both of those have extremely similar manifestations and experiences. So let's get down to this. In the Las Vegas shooting, there was a woman that was shot and she almost died. I'm going to compare this, just kind of paint a very broad picture here, hopefully. Her testimony was that she was out of body. She survived, but she was out of body. She said as soon as she was shot, her soul left her body and it was hovering over it. Now, we have abduction accounts where people describe the very same thing occurring to them. I'm not talking about one account. I'm talking about thousands of accounts where seeing a UFO triggers what's called a bilocation moment, where the witness goes from looking at the UFO to actually being in the UFO and looking down at their body. And it's happened over and over and over again. And so the deepest research we have to date regarding this subject is the fact that near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and certain abduction accounts are seemingly the same. As if literally these beings can peel the soul out of the body, and that individual has the same experience as she would in the body, according to their accounts.
Okay. Okay. Now listen to this one here now, because I got one for you, right? Because you say that they're taking souls. Why do they need to take all of these people's souls when they have all of the souls of these unborn fetuses to take? Is that why all of these people are getting upset? Because now that they're not going to have souls to take? Tell me something about that.
Well, the theory that I'm working on is yes, that along with the missing fetus syndrome, there is the hatching of consciousness. And I'm not the only one to believe that. Matter of fact, in the government, there was a group called the Collins Elite who believed this very same thing, that these beings were not just after the body, but that many of these experiencers are being abducted soul-wise, like literally, like we have a case of Betty and Bob Luca. It's called the Andreasen Affair, where Bob Luca wakes up in the middle of the night and watches Betty's soul leave her body and go with these beings. So it's just not just that the person is experiencing it, it's that other people are witnessing this event take place as well. And I think that speaks to their abilities, right? And it speaks to their power to manipulate us as a species.
So are they physical or not physical? Because I heard you say this, and I'm only saying it because I'm bragging to let you know that I followed some of your work. I heard you say that they can kind of, I'm going to use the word that they can materialize and you can, and I have a reason for believing you about that. Okay, but tell me about that, man. Or am I right about that?
Yeah. You're 100%. I think that very much, a lot like us, I should say, the human species, we have the body and the soul, right? There's a part of us that has been seen in an apparitional state. And so just like them, we have that capability. But just like us, these beings have been known to dematerialize, walk through a wall, and then materialize to the touch. And so we researchers, we don't know whether or not that's an apparitional quality, because in our apparitional research, we have cases where the apparition can be touched itself. So we don't know if it's an apparition or if it's technology that we're dealing with. But whatever it is, they do have the ability to seemingly come in and out of existence.
Gotcha. That's what I wanted to hear you say. Because if they're not physical, why the hell they need a spaceship?
Right. Yes, so all of this is, it's profound in depth. But I mean, it's not just that we have nuts and bolts spaceships. We have spaceships that are also seemingly apparitional, right? Where they could just go through a wall, or they could go through a barrier. And so a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense to us yet. And that's why we're wondering, okay, is a lot of this stuff architecture of deception, or is this, a real deal thing going on? So that's where we're at in the field, in the sense of, okay, we know there are two aspects of the phenomenon. There's something that is tangible that you can record on radar and sonar. At the same time, a lot of these occupants can just walk through a wall, and it's weird.
Okay, first of all, now, and I need to do this because when I was watching, I'm gonna be honest with you, because I kept hearing you use the word, and I think sometimes people don't want to do this. They don't feel like, they don't want to admit that they don't know what a word means, or they don't know what something means. I still don't know exactly what you mean when you use the word aberration. I don't even know if I'm even saying it right.
No, you got it. It's an apparition. It's the origin, not of the word, but the concept originated in Phoenician texts. It was called a Lil spirit, an L-I-L spirit. And it
damn it, here we go.
I know. But it's that part of us that looks like our body. And so a lot of like ghost research, apparitional research, yes, it's the person that has died or is outside of their body, and it carries the same characteristics as the body it has left. And so that's why we have a lot of ghost accounts where people that didn't even know the person had died sees their apparition. And then later on, like the next day, they find out, oh my God, this person actually died. And so the idea is that that portion of us looks like our body and it exists after death. That's the theory we're working off of.
Okay, now I understand why and what happened. Because you used that word, the Lilith, okay? And I want to go back with you on that. But before I do, and I know your time is short, but man, I have to say
It's
this
okay.
because I have a little problem, honestly, because I try to follow you, right?
Right.
But now stick with me for a minute, because there are pictures, there are stories throughout time depicting fiery objects in the sky. Now, are you telling me that all of those stories and all of those pictures are pictures of demons?
No, what I'm suggesting is that just as many people in the field of ufology are kind of confused about the origin of the demon, I think it's also the same thing with evangelical researchers. They're presenting this phenomenon as it's demon, they're all negative, they're all bad, and that's just not true. There are cases that are benevolent, right, where people have actually been healed, but that doesn't negate the fact that there are real entities that are operating outside of space-time, and they're not playing by our rules. And what I've always professed in my lectures is that at least this faction, they're playing by different rules because they're playing a different game. In any threat, if there's ever been a threat to humanity as a species, it's the ability of pulling the soul out, right? Literally, where you are seen in two places in the same time in the same room. And I think a lot of researchers have a hard time making that demonic. But I would ask the question: how demonic can it get before we put a name to it, right, or a face to the phenomenon? If these beings are, and they are, abducting women and forcing them into physical situations without consent, how demonic can it possibly get before we name it that? And so, we're limited in terms of vocabulary. But yes, it's not all lovers and light.
Okay, I'm gonna try to cut my little deal short, but you're not getting out of here just yet. But first of all, what would you? What's the final goal? What the hell's going on here?
With them?
Yeah.
We don't really know. I know that they're using our species to self-replicate. We know that. Even as far back as the late Iron Age in Genesis 6.
Hold on, man. You said self-replicate. Come on, man. Break this down for my people. Okay. My people are the common people of America, man. Come on.
All right. So what they've been doing is, what they've been doing is they will abduct a woman, and it's the same thing in demonology. We see these motifs all throughout demonology. But anyways, they'll abduct a woman, and they will inseminate her. The woman will go on with her regular day or regular life, but she will be pregnant. She will be expecting a child. Most of the time, the woman has no idea where it comes from. Okay? And we're talking about people who are single, and I'm going to get people who have a different sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. These beings, and this is what the data suggests, they will conform to your memories and your beliefs, and then they will inseminate. The period of time is, it varies, but the median time frame is 4 months. They will then come back and take the fetus. Now, the fetus itself did not originate through an earthly union. It originated through a union that they designed. And so where we're at in the field is, it looks, by all measures, it looks like they're using us to self-replicate them, because they're returning and they're taking what they placed in our women. So that's where we are.
All right, man. Listen, I want to try to transition because I want to stay there with you and what you're saying. But you spoke about the apparition and you spoke about the Lilith. Okay, one of the things you talk about is a succubus. You talk about entities, and we've heard you talk about women being inseminated, and we've heard those stories. Now, just to show you that I've listened to you. Hey man, you told a story about you and an entity. You talked about a dream you had. And a lot of people, you know, I appreciated you telling that dream because seriously, and when I wrote my notes, I mean, to anybody, to the normal person, to the normal sick individual that's an American, hey man, who wouldn't want to have that dream? Who wouldn't want to participate in that dream that you just talked about? You said that the person in the dream was your girl right there next to you. So man, I know people that in dreams will kill other people because they know they're in a dream. Because they say it's a dream, it's not real. I can do whatever I want to do. Now here's the problem. Here goes my world mixing up with your world with this whole story that you tell. And I didn't think about this until I put this together, because we've, as a young men, we've heard, first of all, we've all had those dreams. We've all had a dream. Okay? Now, let me add, not everyone, but we've had what we've called sleep paralysis. We've had moments to where we've been laying there and we couldn't move. And we've had things going on all around us and we've been there. We've had those moments, okay? But we've all had those dreams. And a lot of times we just go with those dreams. But here's what I'm asking you. Here's my whole thing. How about there's times, and I've heard people say this, and I can say that I don't think I've had one. I don't think I've had one. But hey, man, how many times have you heard somebody say that they've had a wet dream? You've actually had a dream that you've completed the sexual process. And how many people just had that dream and just woke up like, woo! That was really nice.
Yeah,
and you was just by an incubus. You were just raped by an entity. Tell me about that, and how crazy am I right now?
No, you're not crazy at all. But this is what led Hebrew mythologists, like people that study mythology, they believed that this Lilith spirit was doing that. Which, you know, in classic demonology, your incubi, your succubi, you know, the succubus would go to a man and it would harvest the seed. And then that same spirit would mutate into a man, rather, and then it would go to a woman, and then it would seminate her with the seed it had just collected. In my research, I think that what we're witnessing is a face of the phenomenon in the sense that these are not people, they're programs. It's the same program, it's the same being, it's the same behavioral pattern. I even worked with a lady in India who she'd reached out to me because she had heard some of my research, and she shared something with me very personal, but it's profound. She said that the beings had manifested to her in the image of every man she had been with. Because, again, it was manifesting according to who she had, in a sense, in a way, it was increasing the probability, right, of the act. You were once attracted to this, you'll be attracted to me now, right? And so it's a program that they work on people. And so, again, this is just the beginning of the behavioral pattern. That's how they extract the seed that they're using to create the fetus, right? That they're then stealing after 4 months. This is the literature. This is the data. But I think that is one of the biggest indicators that ancient demonologists were recording this phenomenon, right? It's been here for a long time. It's just that now today we're calling them aliens. It's the same behavioral pattern.
This is the thing that's kind of funny, and I'm saying it's funny, but we talk about a succubus, a succubi, and just being a man of back in the day when I went to the club. Hey man, what you think, man? You think if I'm gonna take a woman home, you think I don't want to take a woman home that's gonna be a succubus? You think I don't want to take a succubine home? Huh? and on a very serious note, what I'm really trying to say is listen to my, damn, I hate to say this. Listen to my demonic mind. Listen to what it is that I'm saying I want. Okay? And I'm getting, and when you speak of a Lilith, see, let me tell you how much I've listened. A Lilith, if I'm not mistaken, if is this not the translation? Isn't a Lilith, doesn't it say that that is a ghost or a whatever, the spirit of something that sleeps with the soul, that sucks the souls of men who sleep alone? Am I right or wrong?
These are the same beings. You're right, but these are the same beings. And what you're notating here is profound. I think it's worthy of everyone's attention. You're noticing a behavioral pattern of mythology, right? To where demonologists say they're not aliens, and ufologists say they're not demons. I think that what we need to pay attention to is the sexual pathology throughout history. It's no doubt they're the same beings. The only difference is that different parts of history defined them as different. Like, we had different faces for who they were. But if we look at the hard data suggests they've been telling us that they're separate. Because as long as we don't have experiencers and researchers that say, hey, listen, I experienced the same thing, or I found this kind of behavioral pattern in my own work, as long as we compartmentalize ourselves, they can get away with it, right? As long as the victim of an incubus spirit never talks to an abductee, they'll never be able to share their stories of experiencing the very same thing. And I think that's what you hit the nail on the head with that.
Man, listen here. Let me try to see if I can wind this down, because I really, really, really appreciate you talking and taking time with me about this, because now I'm getting ready to I'm getting ready to lob a curveball. When we started this, I didn't really know how I was going to end this with you, but I have one for you, because the whole you've been talking about aliens or demons sleeping with women, right? Or we've talked about this. This has been what we've talked about, right? And there are a lot of people that said that you're crazy. They're going to say that I'm crazy, right? Let me ask you a question, and you might not know the answer to this. Why was the book of Enoch left out of the Bible?
Well, it was uncomfortable for them to rationalize. Number one. Number two, the scholars had a very...
Why was it uncomfortable for them, Nate? What does the book of Enoch talk about, Nate? What in the book of Enoch, Nate? Come on, man, we ain't got no more time. Tell the people the significance of the book of Enoch and what we talking about right now and the damn Nephilim. I'm sorry.
It didn't fit the narrative of the scholars. The religion could not use it to bend the masses to their will. And so when it doesn't fit their narrative, what they did at that part of history is they just ignored it. Completely ignored it. And I think it's due to them, again, craving power. Number one. Number two, it was due to them not understanding how Enoch could become an angel. None of this made sense to them. And so instead of understanding it and being better researchers and scholars, they abandoned it completely. And it's a sad thing to see.
Okay, Nate, this is the last thing I'm going to ask you. And I'm very serious about this. Tell me the difference between what happened during the days and during the book of Enoch, and you had angels sleeping with humans and actually producing a baby, a actual being. What's the difference between all of that then, and it wasn't said that those were angels? I think that those babies they produced were demons. What's the difference between that and what you're talking about right now in your research?
Nothing. The difference is only perceived by researchers who do not and refuse to link the two. It's there, okay? Not just in the book of Enoch. In the Jewish Kabbalah, when you're dealing with the Dibuk phenomenon, or the Dybbuk phenomenon, it's all the same thing, guys. again, what we've done is we've mythologized different aspects of the same phenomenon. It's the same event, same beings, same sexual pathology. And guess what? They're still doing it in the 21st century. So I think that stands the test of time.
Wow. Hey, man, listen. I can't tell you enough how much I truly appreciate you. You do realize that what you're doing, and even with this little analogy that we did, you're kind of like the book of Enoch, right? You do realize you just kind of being left out. The scholars don't really want to hear what you're saying and what you're speaking of. And I'm really kind of curious of why. But let me just end with this, because my uncle was the pastor Russell W. Davis. And my Uncle Russell was in my opinion, there was God, Jesus, and my Uncle Russell, as far as where he was in my family, as far as where I rated him as being how I respected him. And I really would go to my uncle to ask my uncle questions when I had good, deep life questions. And I remember asking him about aliens, whether it was real. Uncle Russell, what do you think? And he was old school. He was an old school minister. And he said, and I think he kind of tried to dance from it. He didn't really want to touch it. And I said, no, Uncle. I said, if you could talk to an alien, what would you say to him? And my uncle said he would ask him, are you of Christ?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the one question that really all of this comes down to. Are you of Christ? And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, if you're a demon, you can't tell that lie. You can tell all other kind of lies. You can't tell that lie. Am I right or wrong about that, man? Help me out there.
I think you're right in many ways. I want to suggest something that your Hebrew scholars know, and that I think that a lot of these evangelical researchers are ignoring. That passage in the Bible that refers to the Antichrist is not just that entity that's Antichrist. No, he's an entity that wants to tell you it's Christ. It's a replacement version of Christ. And what we're witnessing right now in the field is that our top abductees are now starting to teach doctrine. God, I got a chill down my back. And watch this, guys. As soon as they start teaching doctrine, the conversation changes. Right? Now, I'm telling you, it's not just, okay, we're aliens. No, if you're aliens, why are you teaching me doctrine? How are you teaching me how to say, right? And I think that's what we need to start paying close attention to as researchers. Because then it does start to, we as researchers do start to think about the implications here. We have abductees coming back saying Ra is God, and that Jesus told them this. Why is this occurring? And so again, the field is starting to change. What kind of alien would come in and start teaching us doctrine, right? And I think that's an important key to this phenomenon. Are they creating prophets out of people? And if they are, my God, we're in for it.
Wow. Listen, Mr. Gillis, thank you so much for this. This has been by far my best that I've had. And just the fact that you got that chill, because you know what that chill means. You know what that chill represents. And let me just say this, and I gotta say this before I go, and I said I wasn't gonna say it, but as I was listening to your video the other night, day before yesterday, and we got on the subject of talking, you were on the subject of the Lilith, and you were talking about power, and out of nowhere, a picture over here, I don't even know what the hell happened. I just heard a big noise in the corner. Bam! Bam! I didn't even want to look at what it was, man, because I'm like, man, what the hell Nate done made fall in my house? And it was a picture. It was a picture back over here in the corner. I'm not even going to pick up and show a picture. I'm going to show y'all the picture later on. And actually this sign that said, no stupid people. The no stupid people fell off. And, hey, man, you said you got to chill down your back. hey man, that lets me know that signs and symbols are for those that are truly conscious, and that lets me know that whatever we're talking about, a few people needed to hear it. Hey man, thank you for being a part of this blessing, man. Hey man, hopefully I'll see you again, man. Thank you so much, bro. Hey man, love you. Thank you. All right. We'll be right back. Another one of my favorite parts of the show. You know why? Because it's called I Told You So. Okay? And listen, man, I got a couple of nice little stories for you, man. On this part, all I do is, man, I just take some little headlines that kind of come to me and appease me. They get me in my no-no spot, and I decide I want to just share them with you, okay? So check this out, man, and tell me what you think. First story, man, I like to call this one the traveling man, okay? This one says that a man tells a Westmoreland County judge that he thought that he was a time traveler, and that led to a high-speed police chase. Okay? Now, listen, y'all, this happened in Virginia Beach. Bro got pulled over doing over 100 miles an hour. Now, those of you know, man, I was in law enforcement, okay? I've actually patrolled the streets of Wyandotte County for like 2.5 years. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give him a few points just simply for originality, for the excuse, okay? See, because dude said he was a time traveler trying to save his son, okay? Now, I don't know, maybe he's a time traveler and he's late picking up his son from soccer practice, okay? So, who am I to tell the man he's lying, okay? Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I would have said something to him like, hey man, go ahead, just tell the truth, keep it real, tell me what's going on. Hey man, dude, he tell you straight out. Hey man, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, man, I was over here in this other universe, man, got this little honey I'm hooking up with, man, and got a little carried away, man. Now I'm late getting to my son, man, and I gotta get back to this other universe for my old lady to get in. Well, hey, man, you go ahead on with your business, man. You just be careful, man. Make sure you don't hurt nobody, man. Who am I to tell you lying? Go ahead on. So anyway, man, that's how I feel about that story, man, about the traveling, man. All right? We as men, we can believe that, okay? All right. Now, look, I ain't got nobody to stop me, okay? Don't get mad at me. Listen, next story. This next story is about some moon dust, okay? Did you hear me? Moon dust. Look at this headline. NASA wants their moon dust and their cockroaches back. Peoples, can you say the word petty? Look, man, I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I've heard people that want back dogs, computers, cars, personal home videos. But come on, man, dust and cockroaches? Now, listen, y'all, this is really supposedly real moon dust and real cockroaches that went to space back in 1969, okay? And NASA wants to get this stuff back because it's said to sell for about $500,000 at this auction before NASA has actually sued to try to stop this sale. Now the question will be, well, why would NASA give a rat's gonads about the sale of this? I don't know. But first of all, let me tell you something. I'm gonna be honest with you. $500,000 is too low. Okay, it's too low to be sitting up here talking about the sale of some actual moon dust and some cockroaches. You know why? You know why NASA's trying to stop it? Because when you have some people out there who thoroughly don't believe the moon story, you've heard stories of people of NASA coming back handing out moon rocks. And they tested these moon rocks. And you don't find that these moon rocks ain't nothing but some pieces of wood from the forest. Oh yeah, Google it. It's kind of hard to find, but it's out there. Hey man, scientists know good damn well if you break down this dust, because you know we got the computers to do that now. You break down this dust, you break down them cockroaches, the moment you find McDonald's in them cockroaches system, it's a wrap. You know that the scientists and NASA's full of shit. Sorry for you. Also, man, here's the last story. I'm so sorry. We had a little situation going on in San Diego the other day. They call this one the San Diego lights. Did you hear about these lights in San Diego? I don't know. Take a look at this video. Look at this. Did I tell you that my video, it was a little red light blinking in the back when I saw that? Did I tell you that? Take a look at this. Okay. Now, check this out now. And here's where this is fun at, because whenever you have something happen like this and the government sees this, they immediately put out a story. And you already know what the story is going to be. It was either weather balloons, it was geese, or, and this one, look at it. They said that it was a naval flare exercise, and it said that the flares were expired. They said that what we saw was an expired naval flare, or as pro-choicers like to call it, a late-term abortion. Sorry about that. But look, man, many people have seen lights like this. Okay, many people have seen like this. I told you about the lights that I seen when I was a kid. Y'all didn't believe me. But you know what? Y'all just saw that video from San Diego. I don't know if this is going to make the cut, but I was talking to somebody in Nashville last night, and I hope it makes the cut. And they talked about seeing some strange lights in Nashville. Well, guess what? I saw some lights in Nashville. Take a look at this right here, man.
Hey, man, I am looking at a UFO. Bro, I am looking at some shit. I was joking at first, but bro, this is some crazy shit. This is exactly the shit. Dude, I thought, oh my goodness. I'm tripping. Are you recording that, dude?
What do you think, man? Look how I got that circle right there. Boom, boom, boom. Look almost kind of like this one we just saw. And if you look at this one we just saw, notice I talked about the little dot on the back. Hey, man. There you go, man. What do you think about that, man? See, it ain't no joke, man. You see how it is, man? You see the lights? Boom, boom, boom. Let me tell y'all something. Somebody asked me, they said, how come you the one that always see everything? Because I was raised, I'm old school. I was raised on Earth, Wind, and Fire. What did Earth, Wind, and Fire tell you? Keep your head to the sky, high, high. Hey, man, don't be mad at me, because I got my head to the sky. Be mad at you, because you got your head down like this looking into your phone. That's your problem. Don't be mad at me because I'm looking for the answers. Hey, man, listen, first of all, before I get on with this next part of the show, let me apologize to some of y'all. You know, if you're looking close at me and you're wondering why am I a little bit scruffy, it's because I didn't go to the barbershop today. And I'm going to be really honest with y'all, and I'm going to tell y'all why I didn't go to the barbershop. I didn't go to the barbershop because my barber, Big Steve, get under my damn nerves. Okay, now, I love Steve like a play cousin, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm realizing Steve works my nerves. Now, the little dude that cut hair with Steve, Lucci, he good people. Other little dude right there, look like Guy Tori's cousin, he good people. But Big Steve get under my nerves, man. And it's not because he ain't a good brother and he be speaking the real, but it's just the fact that Steve be speaking the real crazy. And I realized that I'm at a point in my life that I just, acceptance is where I need to be. And I need to just accept the fact that for these last 2 or 3 years, I've been hanging out with Whitlock, and I got to just face the truth. It's really hard for me to hang out with black people nowadays. So anyway, that's just that, man. And y'all laughing, but Steve is crazy as hell, man. And Steve is going to end up, Steve is so crazy, Steve going to talk his way onto this show, and he's going to be one of my guests, because y'all going to have to see this dude for yourself. Just like y'all need to see this next guy. This next guy coming up is, I'm not going to lie, man, he's a friend of mine, man. His name is Victor Hicks. And I've been knowing Hicks now, man, since, man, how long we been knowing each other, Hicks?
19 years old.
Since we was 19 years, 19, 20 years old. Me and Hicks started working together, man. Me and Hicks started working together when I got out the Marine Corps. A lot of y'all don't know, when I got out the Marine Corps, I couldn't find a job. I started working at McDonald's. Also, really, you don't know this, man. Hicks and I worked in law enforcement. As a matter of fact, Hicks is, how long you been in law enforcement, Hicks?
About 25 years.
About 25 years. By the way, let me tell y'all something. If y'all hear Uncle Jimmy, when y'all hear Uncle Jimmy say, "Huh! Huh!" Hey, that comes from Vic, man. That comes from Victor. Hey, man, really quick, man, let me just say this, because I have to say this while I have you on here. Because you and I were in law enforcement, and you and I used to do something that used to get people kind of upset at us, man. We used to do something that actually sometimes made our co-workers question our intentions, because there was times that you and I would be escorting an individual to court, and this individual may be getting ready to go to court for his life, and you and I would take that brother's hand and say a word with him, say a prayer for him. Am I right or wrong about that?
Oh, no, you're not wrong about that. I pray for many people, and many of them have prayed for me, but yeah, I pray for many people.
Okay. Listen here, man. You've been watching the show, and I appreciate you just for being a friend, just for sitting up watching the show with me, man. And tell me what you think about the show. Tell me what you think about my guest, man, Mr. Nathaniel J. Gillis. What you think about that whole conversation, man?
Oh, I love him, man. And I love that conversation. I think, you know, a lot of people are, there's a lot of things happening in people's lives, and people are so brainwashed with the propaganda of the world now that they don't, they won't even open up their minds to question or think about anything other than the narrative that's being propagated.
So, I mean, you know, the thing that you know, dude, did you understand that conversation that we just had? I mean, how'd you like that? First of all, how'd you like the way I kind of connected what we was talking about, then just pulled up the Enoch in there? What do you think about that, man?
No, I like it. It fits together. You know, like him or like anybody else, I don't understand everything, but I've seen a lot of things. And I've been a questioner all my life. I think that's why me and you hit it off. Both of us, we question stuff. We don't just go for what they tell us, you know. They ain't going for the old okie doke, you know.
You and I was never the two that ran through the facility hollering "Black Lives Matter." Actually, you and I ran through the facility hollering "TFN."
Right. You better ask somebody.
Somebody said, "What do TFN stand for?" TFN stand for they fired Nigerians.
Yeah.
Listen, man, on a very, very serious note, man, tell me this, man, and this is one reason why I asked you on it. What do you think about what's happening in the world right now? What's happening to the state of our people? what do you think about which way we're heading? Just in this whole, just this whole thing, man.
I don't know, man. I'm hoping those are right in saying that Jesus is about ready to return, because if he doesn't, it's gonna get. It look like it's gonna get real ugly.
Come on, man. Come on. People really are we really sitting up talking about we waiting on Jesus to return? Really?
I mean, I'm waiting, but it's not like I'm waiting passively. I gotta go and gotta work, but
Listen, man. Honestly, man, I appreciate you're being very humble right now. You normally, when we talk about this situation, you know what's happening, you know what's going on. One of the things that I love about you, and I'm gonna get you out of here, is you use the phrase, and one of the things that kind of set was you said that you found out that you was a empath. Is that the right word?
Empath.
Empath. And real quickly, I had a lieutenant who just recently retired, our lieutenant. And I was at work one day on a Saturday. I wasn't supposed to be at work. And she wanted to know what I was doing there. And I said, I gave an inmate my word that I was going to do something for him. And you know the rules. You know the rules are if you tell an inmate you're going to do something for him, you hold your word to him. Right. Ain't no way in hell I'd be coming in work on my off day to do something for somebody. And it was at that moment that I realized, I said, when you leave this job, you don't think about it anymore, do you? And she said, not a bit. And I suddenly realized that's the difference between me and you. Because so many people in law enforcement, they go through and say, well, that ain't me. That didn't happen to me. And they never look at it in the eyes of, but for the grace of God, there too go I. People say, oh, I would never do that. Well, you and I always operated in the fact that, well, it didn't have to be me. What if it was my brother? What if it was my sister? What if it was my mother? And I think that everybody in the world needs to have some impact or some empathy. Everybody needs to be able to think about, put yourself in your brother's shoes. Hey, Hicks, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I love you like a play cousin. Hey, man, I'm gonna have you back on because me and you have to tell stories, because you were the only person that I could call and say, hey, man, is there a ghost in this jail? Don't nobody believe that there's ghosts in this jail.
There's ghosts in that jail.
Later, man. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I love it. I love it. Hey, man, welcome back. Time for a Bible story with Uncle Jimmy. The story I'm going to tell you today, kind of keep it rolling, kind of in the context of everything that we talked about today, is I'd like to talk about the conception of Jesus. Okay? And I believe that if people had a little more knowledge of the Bible, just a little bit knowledge, if they just got a little bit, that I believe just that story, just that simple story right there could help a lot of people out in their lives today. Seriously, because I think that a lot of men have found themselves in the exact same situation that Joseph found himself in back in the day. Okay. We've all heard the story. Okay. Men, we've been there, we've done that. Okay. We've all been there when your old lady decides that she needs to have one of these moments where she needs to She needs some time for herself. Okay, she needs to, she needs some, I think they call it alone time. That's what they call it nowadays. And so when they need this alone time, what is it that they do? They go hang around their friends. They go hang around with other people. Well, Mary and Joseph was no different, okay? They had this moment. And Mary told Joseph that she was getting ready to go kick it, and she was getting ready to go kick it on the weekend with her cousin and some of her sorority sisters, okay? And I'm going to be honest with you, man. I give Joe credit, man. Joe didn't trip, man. See, Joe was a businessman. Joe was a businessman. He was a hustler. Joe was about that paper, man. Joe was kind of like that Bobby Womack song, okay? Remember that Bobby Womack song when he said, let me tell you about this woman I got. Remember he said, she's always complaining about me never being at home. He said, but when I'm there, I'm broke. But then he said, she's always talking about the things that her girlfriend got. Talking about what she ain't got. And talking about she wants me to go out there and get her for. Y'all know how it goes, fellas. Listen, man. Listen. You know we can't be in two places at the same time, and you know this. So for Joe, he was happy. He was good with her leaving, and y'all know sometimes it's like, baby, go ahead and do that. Just because it gives us a chance to do what we need to do. We need to handle some business. So for Joe, this just simply meant that he could go work and pull a couple of doubles down at the General Motors plant and pick up some holiday overtime. That's all. So the book says that Mary, Mary was on her way to see her cousin, and said that while he was on her way to see her cousin, that an angel visited her. And depending what book it was that you read, it said that she actually almost pepper sprayed the angel because he kept on following her around while he was trying to get her attention. Okay, so when she finally did, she did stop for the angel, the angel's out of breath, man. The angel like, good Lord, woman. She's like, what do you want? And he like, I was sent here by God to tell you that you was going to have a son. Whew, God, woman. I said, the son that you're going to have is going to be named Jesus, and he's going to be the savior of mankind. Well, Mary was very receptive, but Mary told the angel straight up. She said, I appreciate all of that, but it's evident that you don't follow me on the Twitters. Because if you follow me on Twitter, you would know that they call me the Virgin. So I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do to help you with that. And so the angel was like, look, man, I delivered the message. I'm good. Deuces, I'm out. So when Mary gets to her cousin Elizabeth's house, her cousin asked her about the trip, and so at that point, Mary begins to tell her about this dude / angel that was bothering her on the whole trip. And then she like, and girl, listen to this. He had the nerve to tell me, the virgin, did you hear me? Had the nerve to tell me, the virgin, that I was going to have a child. Okay? And now, hold it. Now, here's where the story gets good. Okay? Because I forgot to tell y'all that the cousin, Elizabeth, was pregnant. Okay? Now, the Bible tells us, the Bible says that when she said that, it said that the baby in her cousin's womb began to kick profusely. And evidently that kicking, bam, 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 was like the other baby saying, girl, he ain't lying. She ain't lying. That's the chosen one right there. That's what's happening. So this is where the story get good at. Okay, I like this because there are some of you all out there that like to say, oh, it's just a fetus. It hasn't even developed yet. Okay? Just a little FYI real quick, in case you don't know your Bible, in case you ain't really following the dots. That little baby in the cousin's womb, that little baby is John the Baptist. Yeah, that John the Baptist, okay? So in other words, I'm telling you, John the Baptist, in case you don't know, was actually Jesus' cousin. So in other words, John's mama, hey man, that was cousin Lizzie to Jesus. Okay, so what are we talking about, man? That's family, bro. Listen, man, all of y'all keep on talking about, oh, it's just a fetus, right? Listen to me, man. For all of y'all to say that, I say, contraire, mon frère. See, I'm gonna tell you like my daddy said, all right? And daddy said, boy, I knew you before you was born. Huh? He said, boy, I knew you before the sperm met the egg. Boy, I knew your thoughts from afar off. Okay? See, so I don't care what man says about when life starts and when life ends. Okay? I'm telling you what the Bible says. See, and a lot of people, a lot of couples have found themselves in this situation. See, you done found yourself, men, we done found ourselves in a situation to where we have to believe and listen to what a woman's telling us. And let's just be honest, lady. I'm gonna keep it real. Some of y'all been out here right now knowing good and doggone well you're lying, and you're out here trying to run a Hail Mary play, hoping for an immaculate conception on the blood test. And you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Bottom line is, we all know that Jesus wasn't Joseph's son. But hey, man, Joseph raised Jesus like he was his son. And see, I can relate to that because that's what Edward Dodge did to me. He raised me. He gave me a name. See, I don't know if y'all can relate to that. But it really means something when a man gives a child that ain't his name. You know, Shaquille O'Neal, he talks about being raised by his stepfather and gave him his name. See, Joe needs to be praised for what he did because he knew what time it was. He was a humble and obedient servant. See, but you know, I know some of y'all don't like to listen to what I'm saying, so don't forget what I'm saying about all of this. Look at what it says in the Bible about this. Romans 8 says something to the effect of, and keep in mind, I'm parabolizing here, but it says something to the effect of, we are all God's children by adoption. It says that adoption is actually stronger than blood. Because of that choice. Adoption is actually stronger than blood because of that choice. You see what I'm saying? To me, now that's the real pro-choice. That's what a real pro-choice is when you want to talk about somebody saying that they pro-life. Huh? See, take a life that ain't yours and raise it. That's a beautiful thing. I don't really care what man says because I'm not controlled by man. I'm controlled by my Father, and I'm controlled by what he says and what he does. And I'm here to tell y'all, man, it is far more honor in taking on a child that's not yours. It's far more honor and staying in a situation and fighting through the storm. You know, that's where you build character. That's where a man comes from. And too many times it gets a little bit tough, and we ain't got that man gene in us no more to want to stay there. But that's what we need to do, man. Okay. So listen here, one more thing real quickly before this is all over, okay? You ever heard of serendipities? You know, they say what go around, come around, right? Listen, my producer just told me just before we was going on air, and we was talking about this story, and I told him what the Bible story was going to be. Hey man, today is July 2nd. I really didn't know this, but this is the feast of the visitation. What visitation, you may say? This is the feast of the day that Mary visited who? Her cousin Elizabeth. Well, ain't that a coinky-dink? Or, as some people like to say, oh, that's just a coincidence. Me, I like to just choose it. I like to just say that it's just simply, let's just say it's God's way of choosing to remain anonymous. Hey, I'm Uncle Jimmy. That's my Book of James story for today. I thank you so much for joining us. Hey, before I go, let me just say this. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we are absent, one from the other. See you next week. Love you.
Give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for. Give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for.
Yeah, are you not entertained? Ain't this what they tell you hustle for? I'm on my gladiator monologues, Russell Crowe. And honestly, I don't see what the fuss is for. You let your money blow and all we tryna do is sow it. Just so you know, this is Kingdom Biz. No Brooklyn Nets, I think we know who team this is. Come on, come all, and don't forget to bring the kids. And y'all gon' need a different planet just to dream this big. So bring your stacks to the table, and I'ma bring my faith. And at the end of the day, we gon' see who winning this race. And since God is the judge, he'll probably throw out my case. So do us a favor, get that look off your face. They be like, you spit that fire, got them industry rap. Why you doing that Christian rap? Nobody listen to that. And I reply with a sigh like I'm missing the fact. I'm trying to spread this holy gospel till my Savior get back.
I'm going in one time, these record labels all in my face, trying to forfeit my race. But still I'm going in one time, no matter the opposition I face, staying true to my faith. I'm about to give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for. Give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for. Give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for. Give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for. Well, everything they offer, yeah, I'ma give it back. You can have it, crossing the world on my back, Mr. Atlas. I'm trying to get the people what they lacking. That's why I act a donkey on the track. Get a passion, got something to say. You wanted to play, then come running my way and ruin G status is dead. No, ready to go, about to go in, you already know. Got my instructions, now give me your audience, hand me your mic and I'm ready to blow. One for the money, two for the show, three for everybody who encouraged me to go, get it. We finally did it, I ain't never turning back, shawty. I'm fully committed to my beliefs. I'm committed to the city, committed to the streets. I'm committed till they get it. Now people calling my phone check, telling me to not hold back. Bring back that old set. Bet it up, I'm on that. I'm going in one time, these record labels all in my face, trying to forfeit my race. But still I'm going in one time, no matter the opposition I face, staying true to my faith. I'm about to give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for. Give them what they want, what they need, what they ask for. Give them what they want, what they need.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Mic check 1 2.
Nobody asked. This is my. I want you to wait until I ask you a question. Spread some cheese on these broken. I say and there's them people yelling and screaming like that. Represent, cause see Uncle Jimmy make them scream like that in Nashville. Do you see what happens when people see your daddy?
Don't overhype yourself.
Yes.
You believe in aliens? For real?
Yeah, I believe there's another existence. Yes, I do believe it.
Oh, I'm not sleeping with you tonight.